Hey guys, it's body pickup day. We got the nice paint job on the car here. Take a quick walk around. This thing looks really nice, like a mirror finish. You can see my reflection there. These guys did a really nice job. Even in the trunk area, they put a purposeful like undercoat and then just put the base coat over top of it to dress that up, make that look nice. Front fenders. Got some stuff covered on the engine. We'll clean all that up later. But this thing looks really nice. I'm really happy with it. Look down the side. So now the fun will begin. We'll get it home, unload, and primary thing is to work on getting the engine running and get the doors on and the canopy put together for the convertible so that the upholstery shop, I got an appointment in about 2 or 3 weeks there, so we just need to make sure we got it ready to roll. And we got the car back from the body shop. It's looking great. A couple things I want to do. I want to get the engine fired up, but one thing I've noticed, all the cars have a FRAM Orange filter housing. I don't know why this one was red, but I'm going to take that off and make it orange like all the others before I try to get the engine started. That way I don't think there's any oil in that thing yet, because we've just cranked it over, look, checking compression, but I don't think we cranked it long enough to get oil in there. Okay, got the oil filter off. These are 2 head bolts, so we'll have to make sure we spec those back when I put them back on. I'll tape off the black and the brass pieces, and then we'll just get these painted orange. And unfortunately, this is what happens when you have incompatible paints. The red paint, I had the orange paint sprayed on top of it, and it's done this, and now I just got to let this dry, and then I'll just have to blast all this off and paint it all orange again. Okay, we got the orange paint on the filter housing now. I'll get that back on the car. Get these head bolts to 60 to 70 inch-pounds. Work your way from the inside out. So I just had these 2 on the outbound side, so I'll get these 2 guys tightened up. Okay, and then there's one more bolt I got to put in around here. It's just there's no specific torque on that one. As I'm getting ready to prepare to start the car, I wanted to get the battery tray in. There's 2 bolts here that were put in, and then if we go down under the frame area, you can see there's 3 bolts right there that need to be put in. Okay, now we've got the battery setting in there. You notice it's a positive ground system, and the positive terminal's bigger than the negative. So the positive's going down to this bolt down here that connects to the engine, and then the negative will run over here to the starter. A quick setup, since I don't have a wiring harness on the car. I've got a special switch here set up to turn the ignition on and off with, and then I went to Harbor Freight. They had a good deal for $10, member price. You can get this ignition starter. So I just hooked that up to the starting solenoid there. And next step is I got to get the fuel tank on. Okay, I'm on the back side of the car, and this is where the left rear tail light. I've taken the wire harness and just kind of pre-routed it a little bit under here. We can see here's the wires coming up to the left rear. This is a frame connection. This goes with the other light. And then I've routed the harness up and over the frame and got it up toward the front of the engine. The reason we're doing that is these two splice wires go up here with the license assembly, and then there's one what I'll call stray wire that doesn't really go with the connections to the lights, and it's in the center of the wire harness, and that's the one that goes to the sending unit on the tank. And we wanted to pre-route this because we're going to set the tank down, and you need to attach this wire because once you mount the tank, the wire is going to be hidden up against the shell of the car. So did all that pre-routing just so we can hook this cable on to the sending unit of the fuel tank. We're not going to hook the gauges up at this moment, but it just makes the connection so I don't have to drop the tank again just to put this wire on. The other thing we want to do, got the wire on the sending unit, but we want to get this rubber piece on the fill tube, and then we've also got this piece here, and this is where the gas cap comes up through the back of the body right there. So I want to use some hot water. This rubber's in pretty good shape, but it's not very pliable, so I'm going to put it in some hot water, really try to get it able to move, and then maybe put a little bit of oil or something on there to help it slide down on there. And I want to get this on because we can feed it up through the hole there while we're mounting the tank, and it's going to be hard to push on, so I don't want to mount it and then try to push it on. Okay, we've got the bucket of hot water, a little bit of gear lube. Got the original clamps that go with that. It's a ring style clamp. And we're gonna, yeah, that helped quite a bit. I couldn't hardly flex that before. It's in the fall, so the temperatures are a little bit lower right now. I'm going to put just a little bit of lube around that joint right there. And then we'll try to press this into the bigger end, or the smaller end to start with. Not sure how far to go right now. I'm going to put both of the clamps on here. And I think one of the challenges will be you know, how far the gas cap sticks up from the back. So I'm gonna guess there for now, and then we might have to adjust. We got the fuel tank attached, and also attached the fuel line there, and got the tube in a pretty good spot. I'm pretty happy with that. Got this rubber seal, and the cap sticks up just enough to go on and off easily. So now all we gotta do is put some fuel in. Well, I'm having a lot of trouble trying to get this engine to run, and still has really low compression, like 30 or 40, which is just crazy low. If I put a little bit of oil in the cylinders, it'll come up another 15, 20, but it's still way off. So I decided to check the timing and the gear mesh between the cam and the crank. And the way you do that is you set the #1 intake valve lash to 26 thousandths. So you find a low spot in the cam and set that to 26 thousandths, putting a feeler over on this side and loosen this. And then you rotate the engine over to when it's getting ready to take the intake cycle. And the way this should work is you can see the timing mark here. This is the 0. And the way that valve works is in the manual it says 9 degrees before top dead center on the intake. It'll start to engage the intake valve. So I've rotated the engine until the intake just started to touch this valve. And you can see here's the 0 mark, and the indicator's way back over there. So we're about 15 degrees out of mesh, which would explain the compression issue also. Because once I put a air connector on here, and whenever you get the engine in compression cycle and you actually get both valves closed, it holds quite a bit of air pressure. It doesn't really leak anywhere. You can't hear it leaking. So I think the valves are seating well and the rings are starting to seat, but definitely we're gonna have to take the fan off, and take this timing cover off, pull the gear out for the cam, and this makes sense. Since I was having low compression, I was also blowing some air out of the carburetor when I was trying to crank it over. So that tells me that the valve was staying open when it was starting to go into compression cycle. So that's why it was puffing air back out, and we weren't getting compression. We weren't holding it closed and open at the right time. Weren't getting enough air into the cylinder for compression. So this, we'll pull this off and rotate this back and get the alignment there. And then I think hopefully we'll have it. I'll look and see. There, in my original video, there was some kind of mark on this gear, but that was like a pencil mark that the machine shop put there. So of course it lined up with what they did. So we'll start taking this stuff off and see where we're at. Okay, we've got the fan and timing cover off, and I've rotated the engine so it was in compression cycle, and with a flashlight I can actually see in there and see when the piston comes all the way up. So we're at top dead center compression, and you can see the little black mark there on the metal gear on the left is a 0 point. So that is at the right spot. So of course the crank top dead center comes off of this gear, and that 0 point should go up through the the center line of this. The challenge is going to be, I'm looking all over this. Based on the timing check I did, this area should be matched up down there right now. And all the pictures I see with this gear, this whole pattern, that 0 point is within 1 or 2 teeth of this 0 point here. And that kind of matches, about a 45 degree shift in rotating that forward, which matches what the the timing method I did by checking the 9 degrees before top dead center with that number 1 cylinder there. So I'm gonna loosen this guy up and rotate this backward to this center line, see if I can find some kind of mark there. Otherwise I will adjust it and move the tooth until I get the 9 degrees, and I think I can divide that, but I think this is 9 degrees is 1 tooth on this. So we'll see. Okay, I got to looking a little closer, and I found something really interesting on the tooth here. So I'm still got the top dead center, got the 0 there, and I was shining light at a special angle, and I found a 0 and a notch in the metal there. So I'm pretty sure that's where it should be, is to that notch. And it looks like there's a little stamping there also. So I'll see if that makes sense. Okay, got those gears aligned now. And I've reset this valve, intake valve, back to 18 thousandths clearance. And I've got a compression gauge hooked up to that. Before we was only getting about 30 pounds of pressure. So I'll give it a quick crank here and see what we're getting. A lot better. Now we're up to 120. So with new rings, you know, that'll probably get a little better over time. And we're slow cranking here, so that's good. We got good compression now. So we could hear when the engine fired, the timing was too far advanced. And I had this rotated as far as it would go. But when we did the rebuild on this distributor, the bracket that controls this position, maybe we're off just a little bit. So I'm gonna pull the distributor, rotate it a little further in the collar, so it gives me the extra timing, and then we'll go from there. Okay, I think we're ready to give it a start. Now we got the timing gears all lined up, the distributor brackets all realigned, and I used points, the points and a multimeter to make sure they broke open at exactly 5 degrees before. So we'll see what we got going now. We definitely have the floats definitely stuck, but that's the next problem to solve. I took the top of the carburetor off, readjusted that float height a little bit. It was set too high. It was just flooding the carburetor. See if we can get it to start here.